Coach Kano podcast, everyone. Welcome once again. I have my good friend Scott with me today. He's an educator, soccer fanatic, anime fanatic, which is my favorite feature of
Yes.
yours. Like that Piccolo costume, like when he was going for the driver's license.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. You'll never convince me otherwise. Never convince me otherwise.
Right. It was perfect, man. And I get to talk to you today about a little bit about soccer, a little bit about, what it means to be an educator, the importance of that role, right? Because we are working with the youth
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I don't know what's more important than that.
I would agree. I would agree. I think it's I feel so fortunate every day to be where I am and be able to work in a school and support kids. It was always a dream of mine, and I'm so glad and so fortunate that I get to live it out every day.
I like this, man. And honestly, I go bother your classroom every single day, right? Pretty much as I can. Like I go visit this guy constantly and just jab all around. So to have you here today without knowing that I'm not interrupting a class, I'm like, okay, finally I could talk.
Absolutely. We don't have to look at the clock.
Yes.
We don't have to worry about the period bell ringing. And
Exactly. Nothing. Let me get myself some coffee.
Oh yeah, I'll do the same after.
As I get coffee, I wanted to ask you, what got you into education?
It's a great question. So, you know, I'll give you the short version of the long story. So when I graduated college, um, I thought I wanted to go into education. It was certainly an interest of mine, and I took some step towards it. But the time frame that I was looking for a job, there wasn't a lot of roles in education. A lot of people had left industry, and it was really challenging to find a position. So I tried for a little while, and then I ended up having a college roommate who got me a job and at Anheuser-Busch actually, which is a local brewery up near where I live. And my wife and I, Kelly, we were getting ready to get married, so it just felt like a good fit. And I started in that role, and the career just kind of went from there, and education was always in the back of my mind, but life just happened. And honestly, COVID hit, and that was a big change. Not only was there a lot happening in the corporate world during COVID, but a lot of teachers started retiring, didn't come back, so there was a lot of openings again, and that gave me the opportunity with I had corporate experience, but I didn't really have a lot of educational experience. But they needed teachers. So that was really my in. And, I give so much credit to my wife, Kelly, because it was a big change for us. And she really supported that change and gave me the opportunity um, to find my passion. And I really feel like the last 4 years hasn't been a day of work since. It's just been incredible.
And every time I've spoken to somebody in the few episodes that I've done, they always tell me, and this is I just pointed out because I to me it's so important, right? They always tell me how their partner was the big reason why they make that big step.
Yeah.
And it's, man, like how lucky are we, like the ones who managed to get that partner, right? That's always there supporting. Because, man, I wouldn't be nowhere near where I am right now without my wife.
Oh my goodness. So lucky. And, you know, I, it's, I think back to that moment, and, you know, I was working full time, and she was, doing photography as well as helping to take care of everything going on at home. And my corporate job was really demanding, and it was a lot on her.
A lot of time away from home.
Yeah, there was a lot of time away. There was a lot of expectations of not being there. But making this shift was a sacrifice for her as well. Financially, it was a big change. She ended up going back and taking a full-time role. Um, and I credit everything of my opportunities to be here because of her and her willingness to, like you said, be that partner.
And you guys
Was
had kids already at that point.
We did, yeah. Yeah, even harder, right? It was such a risk for us, and her willingness to go on that journey with me is something that I'm forever grateful for.
Man,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We cannot thank them enough. We
No,
can't.
no.
Were you working in the biotech industry? Because right now at the high school, you're the biotech teacher for
Yeah.
sophomores. Or you're the one
Yes,
that.
mostly sophomores. I've dabbled in a few of the other grades, but the staple has been sophomores for sure. Um, so yes, so my career before was in a variety of areas, mostly in consumer product goods, which doesn't necessarily fit biotech at first at face value, but most of it was beer and alcohol, which is a biological process because
Exactly.
you need those yeast um, to ferment and make the alcohol. So there's a lot of science involved in that.
Yeah,
And then I
people don't
also,
really think about that.
yeah, you don't think about it, right?
It's crazy.
But there's a lot of science in that area. And then I also spend time in a life science industry, pharmaceuticals, those areas. So always in the kind of realm of science.
Because biotech, like, it covers a lot of areas. I've been lucky enough that this year I was in biotech constantly with the freshmen,
That's right.
and I'm
That's right.
learning that I'm like, wait a minute, because you hear biotech and I'm like, man, that sounds complicated, but you don't really know what it actually means. Like, you don't know what it actually covers. So
Yeah.
what are the areas that biotech will cover that people would even think about?
Hey, like you said, it's so far reaching.
Right.
And whenever someone asks me what it is, I always say it's taking all that stuff you learned in biology and chemistry and putting it into action,
Hmm.
right? Not just reading about it in a book. Uh, And how that translates into industries, you can be working in medicine. You can be developing and creating medicine. You can be working in um, like I said, consumer product goods, right? Making things like beer, cheese, wine,
Right.
right? Bread, all of those things need biomanufacturing. Um, the so many of our students go on to they're interested in veterinary science. We have kids that love forensics. Forensics is biotechnology, right? Being able to be comfortable in work in the lab. All of that can be done. The fields are really so far reaching with biotech. And, I always say if someone is interested in science, it's a great place to land because the careers and the opportunities are really almost limitless, which is cool, which is so great.
It opened a whole new world for me. I'm like, holy stuff, they do all of these. Like,
Yeah.
some of the labs that they were doing, like, they got to make cheese.
Yeah.
They were simulating a crime scene, and they had to study DNA and all that stuff. And I'm like, holy stuff, there's a lot of things to cover here.
Oh yeah, one of the my favorite units that we go through sophomore year is we take a little sidestep from DNA and we go into forensics and we talk about blood spatter analysis and what you do at a crime
Yeah.
scene and they love it, right? The
And again,
students love
right,
it.
you hear crime scenes
Yeah.
and biotech. I'm like, wait, what?
hmm
But then when you actually go through the lab
Yeah.
and you see what the kids are learning, I'm
Yeah.
like, this is amazing. This is impressive. It's turning into one of my favorite shops, man. And
That's
I'm
so
not
cool. I love it. I love it. And that's what we always try to tell like students and faculty and families is that it's really such a cool place that so many interests can be explored.
100.
So many interests can be explored.
Yeah, man. No, I'm happy. And I think you have the right personality. I mean, all the teachers from your shop, man, they're just so easy to talk to.
Yeah.
And serious question, do you ever get mad? Like,
So
the amount of patience you have
Oh,
and the way
well-
you handle yourself, even when confronted with some situation, you're working with teenagers, dude, but you have this demeanor about you that you're just like, okay, no. This is the angle we should be looking at this. But the way you talk is like hearing Morgan Freeman almost. It just calms you down.
I mean, to be put in the same breath as Morgan Freeman might be one of the best compliments I've ever received.
Hey,
So,
I mean it, man.
So I'm going to take that. No, but to answer your question, I mean, of course, and I think if you had my kids here, they would be like, yeah, absolutely, he does. He gets mad too much, right? There's 100% what
I've only seen the good part.
no, 100% what my kids would say, but I think I think in that school setting, right? When I think about the students that we work with, and I think everyone has different philosophies and approaches, and I tell students all the time because I've gotten that question from them too, and I think I think it's so important for them to experience different teachers, different personalities, because that's what they're going to experience in life, right? Um, but I think for me, I do I feel like I'm more effective at my job, um, in making relationships with the kids without that kind of anger and authoritative approach. It works for some people and it works great for some people. Um, when I've tried it, it almost comes across as disingenuous. Like it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't work, right? So I think for me, like I leverage other ways to, gain kind of mutual respect from the
Exactly.
students.
Yeah, because that's the final goal, right? Like
That's the
it's
goal.
I don't want you to be afraid of me. I want you to respect me. I want to
Absolutely.
respect you.
Absolutely.
And when we disagree on something, I want us to be able to talk about it.
To have that discussion,
Exactly.
right? Especially in the CTE side, our I know my goal is to give them a biotechnology education, but I feel like even paramount to that is to give them skills to be successful in whatever they want to do. I mean, they could be so in it to win it right now in biotech, and you and I both know life changes, right? Oh, I bumped it. Um, life changes, right? And just because they're passionate about that now doesn't mean that's what they're going to want to do. But if they can learn skills that are going to make them successful and no matter what they do, and those are skills, right?
That's
You're
right.
always going to have that manager you disagree with. You're always going to have that colleague
Yes.
that rubs you the wrong way.
Yes.
And how you navigate those differences is important. And I think in today's world more than ever, we see the need for how do we find common ground,
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's the access to so many different opinions nowadays. It's it's not a bad thing. I'm still not sure if I want to qualify it as a good thing either,
Yeah.
because you get so much info at once, you don't really have time to process.
Yeah.
Like I consider myself one of those old computers. Like my processor is very slow. It's not fast. So if you give me too much inputs, I'm
That's a
like,
great
oh my
analogy.
god.
That's a great analogy. That's a great analogy.
You
We
know?
my wife and I we went to a comedian that we really liked not long ago, and one of the bits was that are we right collectively we're kind of at this point the we are the old of the young,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We're not old enough that we're really old, but we're too old to be young. And
Yeah,
I
we
think
don't
that,
remember any world wars yet.
yes, yeah, exactly. But I think that processor speed is an accurate analogy.
Yeah, that's how I
right?
feel, man.
Yeah.
Like
we're
I
running
get
a Dell. We're running a Dell computer.
yes
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
an AI world.
On an AI world, we're running a Dell dial-up modem. Yeah, exactly.
So it's crazy, and I have to teach myself how to pause in the amount of information I'm consuming, because I'll dive into these long format conversations to try to get something out of it, but I'll do one right after the other. By the time I hit the third one, I don't remember what the first one was all about. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm consuming way too much. I I should be let me listen to this one. Oh, that's good. And then just break it down, analyze it, probably listen to it one more time, take notes on it, talk to somebody about it,
Yeah.
and then try to move on to another one. But I'm constantly jumping from one source of information to another. My processor isn't strong enough, man. It's
I don't I tell the kids in the classroom all the time, like I I truly do not envy them in the world that they're trying to grow up in and navigate now. And I have so much respect for their generation. I really, really do. I think some of the things that they face, man, we never
crazy,
had to
man.
face.
It's
Like
crazy.
we didn't. I mean, again, I'm not the first to say this either, but we all made mistakes when we were younger.
Yes.
but none of mine are documented. Right? None of my mistakes are documented, and that's not the case for them.
No, man.
They're on blast all the time,
Constantly.
and that's hard, and it's really hard for them, and we see that affect them in so many ways that it didn't affect us.
Yeah, I had Chris Sear here last time, on the last episode, and we talked about this very same thing. And I told him, listen, when I was in high school, if I fell off the chair, ha ha ha, everybody was in the classroom got a good laugh,
And that was it.
That's it. Now I go viral on Instagram or TikTok.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, yeah, that's way too much pressure, man. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do anything.
Yeah. And the same thing goes for, things like bullying, right?
Yes.
I mean, when we were in school, my objective was to be faster, right? As long as I could outrun them, I beat them home, I'm good. I don't have to deal with them till the next day, right? Goodbye, I'll deal with you tomorrow. They don't have that luxury all the time now with social media and smartphones and all of those things. I think it becomes a big opportunity for us working with them to help give them tools to manage that, right? Because they have to navigate that.
And we touched bases on this on one of our many conversations before, and I asked you, how do you navigate with your kids technology? Because you don't want them to not have it, not learn it, because everybody else has it, but you don't want them to be fully submerged in it either, because you're opening the doors to the whole world. And for any kid, that's way too much.
I can hear my oldest son groaning at this question I can hear his voice groaning, right? Because we probably don't have the best answer, right? Our approach so far has been to, when they're using their pads or anything, to try to limit it to general spaces, and if they do have it in an area where we're not, we say like no YouTube and stuff like that in those areas. My oldest son's in middle school though, right? And almost every kid has a phone, and there's a strong argument for him to have a phone. He does after school sports. He's starting to be with friends and not with us anymore. So he has a flip phone right now, which that's why he's groaning in my ear right now. I can hear him, right? And it's a tough parental decision. And there have been times where he's come home and said he's been made fun of because he has a flip phone. And that kills you as a parent. Cause like you can get made fun of for anything. You, as a parent, the last thing you want to do is give them a reason to be made fun of. But man, like especially working in the high school, like I think we see some of the challenges that unfettered access can cause. And, I think where we're at right now, we're like hesitant to fully commit to that. So we've told him high school. He can get a smartphone in high school. Yeah. So he's getting closer. He never forgets to remind us of this. But yeah, that's where we are. What do you do? Like, I mean, your son's a little bit younger. Like, how do you manage it?
Well, he's 8 years old, right? And we try to limit what he watches. In the sense of, okay, wait, this is not age appropriate, so you should not be watching this yet. We pay attention to, if we see that he's looking at a YouTuber that he really likes, I'm like, okay, he really enjoys this. Before I go full, take that off.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you watching? Let me see. Well, what is this all about? And then I try to jump in to see what he's watching and try to understand. Try to get the adult, the parent mode off, just to see, okay. And then I make the analysis, right? Some of them I don't like, but they're not harmful. Yep. So I'm like, hey, whatever. You're into this, entertains you. That's okay. No. But then there's been some other ones that I'm like, no, buddy, this is the reason why you can't be watching this. So please, that one, no more.
That's a great approach. That's a great approach. And I think we find ourselves doing a lot of the similar, especially with you too. We've got the content creators that we know that we've watched with them. And to your point, maybe some of them we like, maybe some of them are like, oh, but at the end of the day, they like it. It's not harmful content. So, I'm sure we had shows and things that I did when I was a kid that made my parents' eyes roll.
Remember Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Oh, Courage the
It's the
Cowardly.
worst cartoon you could watch as a kid.
Oh my goodness. And you
It's
can
so
imagine
bad.
now as parents, you can imagine when that came on, I can just envision what my dad must have been thinking when he watched it and saw a show like that and was just like, this is where we're at.
Horrible.
This is what you're.
What was the other one? There was a cow and a chicken. The cow and the chicken, Cartoon Network.
Yes. Wait, wasn't that's right.
I forgot the name. La
I
vaca y
did
el
too.
pollito. That's the name in Spanish. I don't remember
forget.
it.
Oh, I forget, but I can picture it. I can picture it.
It's a horrible show, man. It is so bad. I rewatched it and I'm like,
Now
oh
as an
my
adult.
God.
Mhm.
I couldn't believe I was into this. So that's why I try not to be too judgy with Liam.
Yes.
Because I'm okay. Do not forget you were once a kid.
Oh yeah.
Because we make that mistake way too
absolutely
too many times.
we do, and it's so easy to fall out of that, right?
Yes.
But I mean, I know are a fellow Dragon Ball Z fan, and I am 100% confident that my parents had zero idea of why I liked that show.
Right.
Zero idea of why I liked that show. But they just rolled with it, right? They just rolled with it.
Exactly. I got lucky because the way I experienced Dragon Balls, dude, I don't know if you guys know, but Dragon Ball in Latin America is everything. I'll even say like Dragon Ball and football, dude, it's you don't know which one wins. That's how big Dragon Ball is in Latin America. So it was.
I'm in the wrong place.
Yes,
I'm in the wrong place.
100%.
I'm in the wrong place.
US experienced Dragon Ball one way, but you have no idea. Like adults were watching Dragon Ball, man. Like it was 5 p.m. hit. Everybody.
Toonami.
Everybody.
Right? Toonami, right?
Yes.
Was where it was showing in the US, right? It was on Cartoon Network Toonami. Yeah.
Everybody left whatever they were doing. You had adults rushing from work to go find a place to watch Dragon Ball.
Oh man, I was in the wrong spot.
Yes.
I was the only. It was so funny, and now it is a lot more popular, right? But man, when I first started watching it, no one else at school was watching it. It wasn't until college that I started to meet some people that were like, "Oh yeah, that show's cool." Like,
Wow.
it's crazy. I still have these first edition like Dragon Ball Z trading card. They came out with like a trading card game. No one bought these cards. And I remember I would go to like the local card shop and I swear this owner stocked them just for me. Like, I really think no one else bought them.
You were the only one?
Every week I'd take my allowance and I'd go and I'd buy a pack or two, like every week. And, but no one cared. Like no one else wanted to talk about these, yeah, wrong place.
We were fighting over those cards.
Oh man.
Like filling out the album because
Yeah.
they came out with you know how they do the Panini album for the World
Yeah.
Cup.
Yeah.
They had one for Dragon Ball, and on the chips,
Yeah.
you buy a chip and you sometimes you get one of the cards, sometimes you wouldn't. So everybody was just buying chips everywhere.
Oh my God. Well,
and filling out the album, and it was incredible. And I'm telling you, man, from the 5-year-olds to the 40-year-olds, it was
amazing.
everybody. It was the biggest thing. It's still the biggest thing ever. Like you asked anybody from Latin America that grew up in Latin America, what's the best anime? Who's the best character? Everybody will say Goku, Dragon Ball.
That's amazing. Well, I'll make sure at school I'll bring by some of the old cards that I
you
have.
still have some?
Oh yeah, I have them all. Now my middle son Noah is really big into it, so he's always trying to take the cards. But I'll bring some for you. So
We're
you can see
rewatching
that.
it right now. We're rewatching Dragon Ball with the Liam right now.
Yeah.
We're into episode, I don't know, episode like 40 something. He already beat Master Roshi on the first tournament.
Oh yeah. Oh, so the original Dragon Ball.
Oh
not
yeah,
even
yeah,
Dragon Ball
Dragon
Z.
Ball.
You're not. Yeah.
We started
Start at the beginning. I like
started
it.
at the beginning from Dragon Ball, and then we're moving on to Dragon Ball Z eventually, and they like it. They're into it.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It is fun when and I mean it's probably a good segue with soccer too, it's fun when your kids have interests that you can share with them, right? Whether it's Dragon Ball Z, whether it's soccer, whether
Kind
it's
of, yeah.
whatever.
Dragon Ball
Yeah.
is kind of imposed. Like
Yeah.
they were watching so much YouTube. I'm like, you know what? Watch this with me.
Watch this with me. Watch this with me. Absolutely.
So that was more like a dictatorship
I love
type
it.
of thing.
But you got him on board. You got him on board.
But now the little one, he knows how to throw a kamehameha. They know how to do the spirit bomb.
Absolutely.
They know how to teleport. Now I'm like, there you go, buddy.
I mean,
got it.
you'd be hard pressed, I think, to find any fan that at one point when they were younger wasn't trying to do that in their backyard.
Everybody
100%.
tried it.
100%.
Everybody tried it. But yeah, man. Yeah, we rolled into Dragon Ball. Going back to the kids, right?
Yeah.
Your kid, it's into soccer. Because you play too also, right?
Yeah. So I have three, right? 3 kids. So William, our oldest, he's in 7th grade. He's middle school. Soccer is life, right? As to quote Ted Lasso, right? Football is life. Football is life, right? So yeah, he is. It's his passion. And our middle son Noah, he just enjoys playing sports in general. So he plays soccer, he plays lacrosse, he's tried, he just likes being active. And then our youngest, Esme, she's in kindergarten. She's, certainly still figuring out what her interests and passion are, but even she's tried like the little pros, soccer and of course she's at all the games with her brothers, whether she wants to be or not. So,
so she's in the culture.
Life. She's in that
exactly.
life. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's a big step, man. Liam, the oldest, he likes playing soccer, but I told you this before. At the beginning, he liked playing with me. Didn't matter what it was.
Yeah.
It just happened to be that I'm such a
fan
fan of the sport that
yeah.
we tend to play that a lot. But he didn't really have a passion for it. Water, like he really enjoys the water.
Oh yeah, you've said that. You've told me that.
Oh my God, he loves
You've
swimming.
told me that.
And I let him explore. But lately, honestly, the big switch came with Messi. Obviously,
he's right there, right?
Yes,
right
man.
There. Yeah.
We are big for some damn reason, people. For some damn reason, we like suffering much, and we support the New England Revolution.
Yeah, we do. You know what? Their time will come again. Their time, and they're doing well at home so far. Maybe it's the real grass. They need to keep the real grass.
You have to.
So, Bob Kraft, when you're undoubtedly watching this podcast, keep the grass. Keep the grass.
So that was the big switch. I started taking Liam to the stadium, which is Gillette Stadium is so beautiful, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like you guys have no idea how lucky you guys are to have access to these type of stadiums. I grew up in a culture where going to the stadium was like, all right, I'm fighting for my life over here. Like I don't know if this is a good idea or not. I probably should not be here. So it's that scary, and the places are not great. So they're not good family environments, unfortunately. I'm hoping things turn around. They used to be. When I was a kid, going to the stadium back home was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. As I got older, things took a turn for the worse. So now going to the stadium back home is not good. So it's not something you want to do with your kids. So I was always like, man, I want to give my kids the same experience I got.
Yeah.
We moved back here. We went to the Gillette Stadium. I'm like, oh my God. Because my head, sometimes it takes you a minute.
Yeah.
Like, what's the saying? You could leave the village, but the village will never leave you.
Yes, yeah.
So I had kind of that mindset. So I'm like, man, the stadium, I'll go. I want to go, but keep the kids home.
Yeah.
I'm going to the Gillette Stadium. There was like,
see what it's like. Yeah.
There was like 500 people there. This amazing, beautiful place. It's the safest thing you could do. I didn't know that. My head was still stuck back home.
What you had experienced.
And then I'm like, wait a minute, this is amazing. So got tickets for Liam. I'm like, Liam, let's go watch a Revolutions game. He's like, sure. Like he was just excited that he was going with me.
With you. Yeah, absolutely.
We got to the game. He really liked the experience. And it was, they were playing Nashville. And it was a fun game, but there wasn't a lot of people there. So, but he had a blast. I noticed something that I'm like, wait a minute, he really liked being here. So then Miami came over with Messi for the first time. I immediately got tickets. 65,000 people.
Right. Totally different experience.
Oh my God. And then I'm like, hey, let's go see this guy. See what you think. My God, that switch went on. Oh yeah, that got him in. He gripped him. Now he has a grip on it. Now he's enjoying. He goes to practice. He has fun. He's playing. Oh, he had a great game yesterday.
Oh,
By the way.
did he?
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
I was gonna ask. I was gonna
Yes.
ask.
So, but that's how big, that's how important it is to have the right type of influence, right? And
Yeah.
it's something that Messi brought to the table.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like you experienced soccer way before I did, here in the U.S. As a kid, as a young adult, as a parent now. Do you see anything different? Like, do you think the sport is growing? Is it stagnated?
That's a good question. You know, I it it it's fascinating to think about. To answer the question quickly, I definitely think it's growing. Um, I remember, so my high school was actually not far from Gillette Stadium, and so I remember we would we would we would be practicing because I played on my high school team, right? We'd practice, and then we could go to Gillette Stadium if they were practicing,
Wow.
um, and you could see them. You could just see them practicing
And they gave you access to
because
it.
no one cared, right? No one cared.
Mm,
You could go buy tickets for $5 or $10 because no
yeah.
one bought tickets, right? So you could. It was very much in its kind of fledgling state, at least on a national
Mm-hmm.
scale, right? The MLS,
Exactly.
in 20-ish years ago, right? When I was in high school, right?
That wasn't that bad. That long
But
ago,
it is what
man.
it is, right? It is what it is. But so it's definitely grown. One thing I think that they are still holding on to, which is going to be really fascinating to see how it evolves with the influx of kind of superstar players like Messi, Heung-min Son, right? All of those international stars that are coming over is what I still love about professional soccer in the US is it's accessible
Yes.
compared to other US professional sports, right? So I'm obviously speaking from my own kind of American
Mm-hmm.
microcosm, right? A lot of professional sports are not accessible
Oh man,
for
try to watch an NBA game. It's got to drop a leg.
you do, right? And the idea of bringing a family to see the Red Sox or the Celtics or the Patriots, it's not accessible for the average family, right? But soccer still is, right? Both men and women's professional soccer, and women's professional soccer is exploding. I would argue even faster than men's professional soccer, which is amazing to see and is, so exciting. I mean, we have the new team coming to Boston, FC Legacy, which is awesome. So I think both men and women's you can see professional level soccer, and you can take your family, and they are family friendly. I think the environment that they are cultivating is still one that is focused on families, which is great.
Should keep it that way, man.
I
Like
hope so. I
sports
hope
should
so.
be for the family experience.
I hope
They
so.
should be, and they
Yeah.
should be accessible for the people. It should not be limited to superstars and like the trending artists that, because that's what you see in all the major basketball games. Everybody in the crowd is famous.
hmm
I'm like, come on, where are the regular folks at?
Right there, we're all watching it at home, right? And what I worry about, in some sense, to your point, is I think we see that with the World Cup.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yes.
I know there's a lot of components, and I'm certainly not learned in all of them, but it's not accessible,
No,
right?
not at all.
We have a family of soccer interested people, and we're not going to any of the games because it's just not financially accessible, right? And so I worry that it's going to trend that way here in the US, y- y- you know, um, but but I guess time will tell, and I am comforted and optimistic because it hasn't fully gone away yet. Like it still feels very
You can
accessible
still
for
reach
everyone.
it
Yeah,
to some point right now.
yeah.
We experienced a little bit of it with the Cups World Cup. with the
Yes.
clubs World Cup,
Yeah.
right? Some tickets were accessible, but you had a lot of clubs coming from South America that, people here in the US don't really know
Yeah.
unless you are really into the sport
Yeah.
for a long time. But for the most part, people here don't know who Flamengo is. They don't know who Corinthians is. These are clubs that
Don't
they're
draw that interest. Yeah.
here for
Yeah.
the
Locally.
US
Yes.
community, right? So when you have that luxury, then you can maybe get some accessibility to it. And even so, tickets were still expensive.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, it's pains me. I wonder what the prices are if you compare it to different World Cups in other editions.
Yeah. It's fascinating, and I'm certainly not up to speed on a lot of that, so I'm cautious to speak on something that I'm not very familiar with. However, um, I have a brother-in-law that I'm very close with, and he grew up in Ireland, and lifelong soccer fan. And Liverpool is his team,
Yes.
right? And obviously a large national, premier level team, big players, big dollars, and he always speaks of it as a team for the people still. That feeling is still very much there. And I have heard him speak about, you know, World Cup ticket prices in other areas, and it feels like here in the United States, it's exorbitantly more than he's aware of or he's experienced in other previous World Cups outside of the US. So I don't know if it's a US centric problem. I don't know if it's an economic times problem. Um,
Yeah, I always heard Europeans complaining about how expensive going to stadiums is in here
yeah.
because they have full access to all the Prem leagues, all the La Liga games, and it's accessible. Like people can actually buy tickets, and it stays for the people. And I think that's the way the sport should stay. But yeah, I guess everybody does it differently, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, for World Cup, I think I had told you, right, you're absolutely invited. I think we're going to do watch parties. So we're going to set it up on the back deck. We're going to put a little projector screen up. We're going to watch them from afar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I already have a couple of people that I want to hit to watch a couple games, which you are definitely going to a couple of your to watch a couple games, and I'm going to Chris Sears. I think
Awesome.
to his house. I'm like, you got to experience a couple of World Cup games with me, buddy. He's like, I've never watched one. I'm like, well, this is the year.
It's the year. It's going to be a good year.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
wonder
be-
what the fan fest is going to look like. Hopefully, they do something decent here for the Gillette
Yeah,
State.
you've mentioned that, right? That you have in the past felt like there's been really strong fan get-together
Yes.
opportunities, even if you don't have tickets to the
Exactly.
stadium.
Like part of the World Cup is the outside activities, outside the stadium activities for the fans. They literally call them fan fest, and they set them up in every stadium where matches are played, and it's open, so you go and it's there's no ticket to get in it. It's whatever you buy in there is whatever you're expending, but the experience is the good one. So I'm hoping here it is going to be summertime. Like I hope real summertime.
Real summertime, not this whatever it is.
Yeah,
right
this
now.
is second winter break.
Yes.
Horrible.
Oh.
So I'm excited. I don't want to get my hopes too high because I don't want to be disappointed. But I never experienced the World Cup living in the country where it's happening. Never. It's always been a dream. Like we dream of these moments, man. Like it's always when you're when you're a kid in Honduras, you don't have much. You don't have much, man. You see the world from TV. You're like, man, what would that be like? And now I actually have that opportunity, so I'm super excited, man. Like I don't know how to put it into words, but ever since they announced it that it was going to be Mexico, U.S., and Canada, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be in a World Cup country.
Well, no matter what the Fan Fest experience, if it lives up to or doesn't live up to your expectations, I promise we'll make sure that it does when you come to our house. We will have a great time. And I promise you, no one will be yelling more loudly than my oldest son, William. He will be losing his mind.
One of the things that I'm looking forward to is just watching a game with him. Like we talk about, like, William, I probably know you way better than than any of your friends at this point. But I'm really looking forward to sitting down with him and just pick his brain a little bit to see how he watches the game. Because from what you told me, he has very good takes on the how the New England Revolution played last season, how they were playing this
Oh,
season.
he has more of a strategic mindset than with the game than I ever could. Yeah, he doesn't miss a beat. He doesn't miss a beat when it comes to soccer.
I'm really looking forward
Yeah.
to talking to him and experiencing a match with him.
Oh yeah, he will. And he will love sitting right next to you, giving his take. Absolutely.
That'll be fun. Moving on to a little more controversial. We'll stay in the soccer topic, right? Zlatan Ibrahimovic. That dude has so much money. It's insane, right? He's this big player. And he said that soccer in the US is too expensive. So if somebody like him is saying that it's too expensive, what does that tell you? Like, why is the sport here so expensive for you to get your kid into a team, into a club, and the quality doesn't match the price either? You know, because it'll be one thing if the U.S. was constantly producing these high quality players that go to the best leagues and play for the best teams. But you don't get that. But you do get very high prices to try to get your kid to play a little bit of soccer, man.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, it's obviously I'm in that world, right? That's a world I can, certainly speak to, at least my experience, right?
Exactly.
I'm sure,
Which is all we want.
right. I'm sure there are people that will have reasons or critique, whatever we say on the topic, and I certainly respect that. But I think it's so unfortunate that that is the environment right now. It is unbelievably expensive to have your kids have high level experiences in soccer, right? And I know it's not a uniquely soccer problem in the US. However,
It's a good point. I never thought of that. Like what the
I,
price of getting your kid into any sport here was.
I think it varies sport by sport, right? And soccer is the one I'm the most familiar with, but I definitely think there are some sports that are more expensive and some sports that are
Yeah.
less.
Yes,
Uh,
like if you want to get your kids into tennis or golf, that's a lot of money,
right,
right?
yeah, and hockey is another great example, right? Hockey is very expensive. Between the equipment, between the ice time, like I've certainly heard hockey parents, explain their prices, and they're expensive too. What I think is unique about soccer, though, is soccer has those high price tags and doesn't immediately have a lot of those tangibles that you think would require those high price tags.
Hmm.
Like a hockey to juxtapose it to, right? They There's limited ice rinks. They're paying for the ice time. You've got all this expensive protective equipment, and that lends itself to high costs, right?
So you could see what you're spending your money
You can see
on in
again.
a
I'm sure
way.
there are hockey parents that are going to be like, "Oh, it's still too expensive," and I agree. I absolutely agree with them. Right? I'm not minimizing their cost or their expense in any way, but then you've got soccer, right? And soccer's soccer's like basketball. Like,
Right.
what do you need? What does a player need to play? They need
One ball to 22 kids.
and a decent pair of
Yeah.
cleats, or as my brother-in-law would say, boots, right? Like that's what you need. So the equipment, you can't really blame it on the equipment. You can't, right? Um, it it comes down to, I think soccer is a newer growing sport in the US. And I think that to me, the youth soccer feels like a teenager right now.
Hmm.
It doesn't know what it wants to be when it's going to grow up. It doesn't know the right path. It doesn't know the best path. So, in the absence of that clear direction, American football is a good kind of analogy to it, where they do know the path, right? With American football, you play youth development. A lot of that youth development comes from your school, your town. There are clubs per se, but usually it's connected with the towns. And then you play for your high school team, you get real good in high school, and then you get drafted to play at a college. And then that's your pathway to NHL. It's clear. It's very clear.
Yes.
In soccer, it's not clear. So I think in the absence of that clear path, you got all of these different groups and people saying, I'm the path.
Hmm.
I'm the path.
I see. I see.
Come to me because I'm the pathway to whatever your expectations are for your child, whether it's to play in college, go professional, whatever, right? We are your best path towards that. And it's like a power vacuum. So then all of these things, they all try to charge money. And I feel like I cannot talk about this without saying that I feel incredibly fortunate because the the club that my family is a part of, ISC International Soccer Club in Nashua, their whole mission is to keep high club level soccer affordable for everyone. And and they really live by that mission to their own detriment at times. They stand by that mission in forsake a lot of other things to make that a reality for people. But I think they're in the small minority.
100%, man. Like it's not everybody that's willing to take a hit on the economical side of it to try to provide for the community.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a tough
very
sale.
rare. It is a tough sell. It is a tough sell. And, I don't want to call anyone out and I don't want to point fingers at any particular groups, but I've had so many experiences and discussions about other groups where even if that is their mission on paper, the the dollars don't show that mission, right? When it costs $4,000 for a season, and that's not including the travel costs of, hey, you're going to go to these tournaments. Families are spending tens of thousands of dollars sometimes, on competitive soccer. And it's all with this promise of you're going to get to that D1 school. You're going to get to MLS.
And even making it to the college team, soccer doesn't go by that rule. Like you don't really have college soccer players making it big time as much as you see on the other sports.
No, and almost the opposite, right? Almost the opposite. It's almost with my son being in middle school, Kelly and I have started to do like a lot of work in understanding the pathways because he continues to show such a strong desire and interest in wanting to continue playing. So you have to learn to navigate it. So, Kelly and I have really been trying to understand because it's so different. Like, I'll use me as an example. I'm an average player at best. At best, I was an average soccer player. I picked a D3 college to go to, not because of sports, but because I liked the school. I liked it. And in that process, I happened to talk to the coach who realized I played in high school and was like, you can have a spot if you want it. Like, come on, like, come 2 weeks early. This is when tryouts, or not they weren't even tryouts. It was like preseason. It was like, we'll move you in 2 weeks early. You're on the team. And that was just 20 years ago. I know it was a long time ago, but 20 years wasn't that long ago. That was the experience. And now that's not the case, right? Even remotely the case. Now you've got kids that think they want to be professional oftentimes aren't even going to college. They're doing this weird convoluted path of it feels like magic is what it feels like. It feels like luck and magic. They'll move to another country. They'll play there. They'll play on this semi-pro team. They'll do this. They'll join MLS next because that's a good pathway because it's associated with MLS. They do all these things and college is almost on the back burner. Or if you want to go play college, there are pathways it seems like you can do to better your chances, but it's still so much more
Yes.
competitive. It's a weird it's they're I really think they're
Yeah,
teenagers.
what you said makes a lot of sense, man. They haven't figured out the path yet, and so everybody's just lost, try to carve their own path,
Yeah.
and that just creates a lot of confusion. I really hope they nail the college system down, because like one of the things that I really admire about U.S. sports is that college system, like going through college, to try to make it into the professional levels, because we know the percentages, right? The amount of kids that actually make it professional, it's very limited. But having that college system, at least you're giving the kids an education. Like,
Yeah.
well, could not make it as a pro, but I have my career
Yeah.
that backs me up. So that's that. Assuming college will still remain relevant the way we're moving, I don't know if that's gonna be a thing. That might be a hot take. I might just throwing it out there. But it's it's been one of my favorite things about the U.S. um sports system is the whole college process to make it to the professional level. If they could give that, if they could replicate that to soccer, I think it would be beneficial for everybody.
I think it would. I think b- because you're so right. Like, and this is no discredit. There are so many incredible athletes out there, young athletes. Um, but like you said, even when you're playing D1, D2 in a sport, let's say like football or basketball, a lot of them don't go on. Even at that level, these are elite athletes at that level. And a lot of them still don't go on. So that percentage is so small. And again, I'm trying to be thoughtful and not dive too strongly into my opinions that grow stronger every day. But like, I feel like we're doing it wrong. If a hot take, as you would say, right? I feel like we're doing it wrong with soccer. I do. And I feel like, MLS Next is a great example. And I'm probably going to get hate for this, right? But they're doing the opposite of that. They're pushing kids away from college. They're not only pushing kids away from college, they're pushing kids away from their high school teams, the teams that you coach. Because if you play MLS Next, you can't play for your high school team.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. Which so you're driving them away from their communities.
That's the
You're
third world country approach. Like
you're
soccer is more important than your education.
you're driving them away from all of those things. And I know, and man, we're getting into hot take, real bad territory. I'm going to get you in trouble. I'm sorry.
No, you might make us go viral.
I'm so sorry. But like, what we've got is, I know MLS Next and similar programs, because there are other, it's not just them. Oh, we have scholarships, we have opportunities. Uh, They're not enough. They're not enough. Because what happens is, to even be selected as a potential individual, you already have had to have spent tens of thousands of dollars to get to that place where you're in front of them, for them to be able to say, you know what, you are really talented. And you are in a socioeconomic bracket that we want to help support you. That's not the case. The vast majority are families and individuals with funds, and this is coming from a privileged position, right? I am, we're so fortunate, and I recognize my privilege that we're a middle class family, and we are, some things might be a struggle, but we're able to do a lot for our kids. And I think about all of the people in my life that I know that aren't at the financial level that even we are at. And we're missing kids. We're missing so much talent and so many kids that love the game, because we are saying, look you've got to do all these things, pay all this cash to be in front of, and then you might get that opportunity. And then MLS Next takes them away. And then what if something happens to that 19-year-old? Even if all the stars align, they are seen by the right people, given the scholarships, even if they can't afford it, but they're there because they're helping them. And then they blow their
Right, you're an
MCL or
injury away
ACL.
from.
You have taken them away from their educational opportunities. You've actively pushed them away from college. And what do they have to fall back on? Like, I just wish we would gravitate towards and again, the college system, and I know there are people that would say the college system has its problems, and I have no doubt it does.
Of course.
My kids aren't in college yet, so I don't have that purview. I'm sure that system has its own challenges, but I I want to make sure that everyone in soccer gets the ability in every sport. If they want to do it, they can excel in their passion, become a good person, develop teamwork, all those great leadership skills that we get. And yeah, I know. I worry that we're not on that path. Sorry, that was a soapbox, clearly. I'm sorry. I'm reining it in.
Sometimes you got to let it out, man. You have to. But I understand everything you said, and, it makes sense. Sports are cruel, and we're not gonna delete that.
Yeah.
It's a fact. It's a very limited amount of spots for the amount of kids who are constantly trying in every sport. That applies to every sport, especially with the most popular ones, right? And everybody loves that Cinderella story of, no, I came from nothing, and through my talent, I was so talented that my talent got me out. Everybody loves those stories. But if you do the math, in everybody who went professional, those Cinderella stories are very rare. Like, they're so well known, they're so popular that you think that's the norm for all the professionals. But the reality is not. Like, yes, you got some cases that, they skipped all the education system just based on their talent. They made it from nothing. They had no money. But those are like the lottery tickets.
Yeah.
The normal professional went through a system, carved their way through with education, because most professionals are well educated.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. They really are. Especially here in the U.S. It might be less common in outside the U.S., some other Latino countries like my country, right? But for the most part, most professionals are well educated. So I really do think on the college system is the best pathway. Because again, if you don't make a pro, at least you got yourself through college. Like, the reason I say this is because what you said about you're an injury away, it's literally what happened to me.
I remember you telling me that.
It's literally what happened to me. I was pretty okay. I was pretty good.
I've seen you play. You're pretty good. I watched you play.
I was more disciplined than talented.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously I had some talent that followed me along, so my discipline enhanced it. And I got to the position where I'm with the national team, with the U20 of my national team. But then I got to get signed by a professional team to stay active, right? The national team only does a couple months and then it disappears. You have to remain active. I'm 19 years old. I wasn't 20 yet. And I have to make the decision between, okay, do I sign with a team? And I had a team ready to sign me. Or do I continue my college career? Because I didn't really have anything else to fall back on. So it's tricky. And in my head, right, I had to grow up a lot faster, I guess, than any other teenager in my position, because I didn't really have parents to say, hey, go for it. We have money to put into this. If it doesn't work, we'll get... No, it's either I choose this and stick to my college and make it work here, or give professional football a try, which when you're in Honduras, playing professional as a first sign doesn't mean much. Like, you're getting paid minimum wage.
Yeah.
Like, you're not making a living.
Yeah.
And I'm one injury away. So that kept playing in my head. I'm like, man, do I want to risk it? And I decided to go for the more safe route, which was my college career. But imagine if those were combined, right? Like, if the situation would have been like, no. If the college system, right? Going back to that, that's why I want to argue in its favor. Like, if I would have been through the college system, that's no longer a decision that I have to make.
Right.
No, I'm already in college and I have my opportunity to go pro. So of course I got both, right? That might be a little greedy.
No. But I think I think it gets into kind of a philosophical discussion on what is what are we trying to do with youth sports, and I think the pro is really the edge case, but the v- we make it the cornerstone versus versus if our mentality as a society was more structured around youth sports is there to develop good, well-rounded humans,
Right.
right? That can then enter in society and maybe they're involved in sports themselves, maybe they're not. That college model fits so much better in that scenario, right? For youth soccer, where
That meant sacrificing a little bit of the professional playing level, right? Because I'm assuming something's got to give, right?
yeah, something's got to give, right? Something's got to give, absolutely. And I think the sports where where we it's tough to compare because American football, you could make the argument there aren't a lot of other countries that so, but I mean, basketball is maybe a better case study because basketball, the college, although I know it has shifted a little bit because pay models have changed with college. I know there's some weird things going on at the NCAA level, um, but historically, to your pathway to the NBA was most likely to through college.
Hmm.
And we still compete very well on a global basketball scale. Now, obviously, soccer is much more long-standing elsewhere. We're kind of like trying to find our way in soccer. So, but but with but with women's soccer, we are highly successful in women's soccer on a international scale, and I think you see a lot more. Professional female soccer players having gone to college, right? Versus, I think, this push that's so strong for MLS pathway that kind of sidesteps college. Um, but yeah,
At the end of the day, there's a lot of things that we're probably missing.
I'm sure. I have no doubt, right? And I'm sure there are coaches at the and owners at the MLS level and the college level that could probably school us in what we don't know.
Exactly.
This is just from
But we get to see, right?
we get to see, we experience, and we see it at GLTS. I see it in Nashua. Some players that are so unbelievably gifted, and you know, they're they're not on that pathway because they can't afford that pathway, not because their talent doesn't deserve for them to be on that pathway. And that, I think, is unfair, and I think that's an unfortunate stage that youth soccer seems to be in right now, at least here. Maybe it's different in another part of the country.
Right. That's another good point, right?
Like
In Massachusetts, it's definitely something's got to be missing, man, because the 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 team from here is not. It hasn't been competitive. I don't know how many players from Massachusetts actually make the New England Revolution team, and if they do, okay, if that's the base, well, the team hasn't been good, so that itself creates another problem.
It's interesting, right? I think, I mean, from a statistics perspective, I think there's a counter argument, but MLS Next, there's not a lot of MLS Next players. They don't make up the vast majority of MLS teams. Now, the counter argument that, to be fair to them, is that MLS Next is new, right? It's still relatively young. So you could easily make the argument, well, our goal is in 10 or 15 years for the majority of MLS players to have fed through that system.
Time will tell.
But time will tell. Time will tell, right? But I wonder at what expense. I wonder how many people, and we won't know, right, until 10. And it's always easier looking in the rears, right? But it'll be interesting to see how many people went through that process, this experiment.
Yeah.
Invested so much, and did they get what their goal was?
Exactly.
And they might be right. And maybe in 10 or 15 years, we will have to be back on the podcast issuing a public apology. So I will be humbled enough to do that if I need to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully, we'll reach somebody. Landon Donovan has been constantly working. He's one of my favorite U.S. players, by the way. I love Captain America, man.
Yeah.
And he's been very vocal about his thoughts on youth soccer, and he also believes that it's too expensive, is not accessible, and he also, and which is another point that I agree with him too, is he doesn't like the way it operates. It's based on winning games, not on developing players. Like I could have 10 kids, 8-year-old, put 9 in a game, play 9v9, play 7v7, and just storm the gate and just try to score and win a game. But my kids did not complete any good passes, did not complete any good dribbles, what am I winning?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What am I winning? I rather have my kids try to complete passes, try to complete good dribbles, try to make good plays, even if they get beat, because the other team is just storming me.
Yeah.
And because I'm trying to create plays, and I'm trying to build up walls, and I'm trying to set up, actual football.
Yeah.
And I'm making more mistakes because of it, and I'm constantly getting scored on. But my kids are learning. My kids, like an 8-year-old winning a game doesn't make or break him as a player, right? And
certainly hope not, right? Certainly hope not.
Right.
Yeah.
But an 8-year-old who's constantly trying to make good passes, trying to make good runs, trying to actually build up plays, winning or losing doesn't define the growth that he's going to experience.
Absolutely.
And in youth soccer, because I don't want that mentality of everybody wins a trophy. No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when you're that little, it is a lot more important for your little team to actually try to do things right and pay the price with a goal, but grow as a player, than just storming the gate and scoring however you see fit, because you're not learning how to play.
Yeah.
And Landon Donovan kept saying that the model we're teaching is winning games over technical skills. So by the time you're a teenager, your skills didn't fully develop. Yeah, you became a winner. Yeah, you became like this, I want to win, but your skills do not match your mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's an excellent point. And, it made me think of, I think the other thing that's sometimes missing from the equation with our model right now is the concept of sports are supposed to be fun. And I think it's okay for kids to learn that they can have fun winning or losing, especially at that age, right? I'm not talking about professional. I'm not talking about college. Like I get that.
We're separating,
different animal, right? But with your son, Liam, right? When I think about my own kids' journey, like, you want to foster them enjoying it and having fun. And, one thing that I always appreciate and observed as my own kids have gone through soccer with where we go is a lot of, especially with the younger kids, a lot of the time at practice is often spent on them scrimmaging and playing.
Yes.
And I've heard parents before be like, when are we actually going to practice? And I love that the approach is they are like, they're playing, they're having fun, they're experimenting, they're trying things, they're realizing what works, what doesn't work. They're learning and developing through that. And I think at these earlier ages, this idea of they need to be in this highly competitive elite drill program, I don't know. Like I think there's a time and a place for that, but I don't know if that time and the place is with your son when he's just developing this love and passion for the game. Like, let him play. Let him have fun.
To me, they should be playing, man. They should just be playing. Like, I cannot stand when I see coaches working with little kids and they ramble for 20 minutes to have them do this little passing drill for 5 minutes. Because he spends so much time having them figure out how to move according to that cone rhythm
Right.
that the actual time they spent on the cones was nothing. Like they got 20 touches at most. When buddy, go
That's
go
no,
kick
no,
the ball around.
that's what you should be doing with more advanced players when they're
Yes.
older, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's been so many times where we've shown up to a game and the other team, their warm up, man, you're like, oh, we're going to get crushed. Like, that's not right. They are like militaristic in their warm up. You're like, oh my God, this team is like straight out of, we're going to get, and, and then they don't perform because they're not playing and having fun. They're executing a very mantraed regimen,
And
which
then you have your opponent moving as a crazy animal.
yeah,
Yeah, wait a minute, the cone doesn't move that
the
way.
cone doesn't move that way. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
So
It's interesting, right? And of course, we can only say what we think,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
there's got to be some truth to it. We might get a couple things wrong, of course.
Of
We're
course,
not experts, but man, kids should be kids.
they should be.
And the time for competitiveness comes after. Like
Absolutely.
they should be enjoying the game and experimenting with it. Like I never had a structured practice until I was like 14-year-old.
Yeah.
14.
Yeah, because then at that point you've got enough foundational, not only love for the game, but knowledge of it, that then you can piece that together. And I see that with my oldest, right? Because they are really starting to dive more into some pretty complex drills at practice. And you can see it's hard for them, but they're getting there. You can see the progress in development. But if you had thrown that at them, if you had thrown that at, say, my middle son right now, who's only 10, it would have been too much. Like, just let him play. Let him play. Let him have fun. Give him those pointers here and there when they, are in the wrong position. Tell them where you want him to be. Give them some positional direction, but, don't.
Because if you don't, you kill creativity, man. Like, well, you're not gonna let me try this spin. What do you mean?
Oh, some of the cool.
Let me-
When as parents, as coaches, do we get the most excited? Right? We don't get the most excited. We might be like, yeah, when they do that pass that we showed them, but we get the most excited when they do this sick move where we're like, what?
What?
Like, where was that from? And that was from them. That was their creativity.
I think that's the part of football that it's a little bit missing. It's coming back a little bit with the Lamine Jamals, with the Michael Olises.
Yeah.
With these guys are bringing this flavor, that Brazilian flavor that we used to get bombarded with when Ronaldinho and Ronaldo were killing it. And dude, you see one of those moves, and then you're just in the backyard, just testing it out, trying it out. How did he move his feet?
Funny. It's so funny. So I didn't hear this because it was Kelly was talking to one of the parents of my Williams teammates, and their family is Hispanic, and Kelly and them got to be talking about just like I think youth soccer, a similar discussion as well, and he shared his hot take was that there's no flair. There's no fun in U.S. soccer. There's no, it's too square. Exactly. It's too square. And that's what he said. That was his take to Kelly, was that, it's, there's no energy. There's no excitement. There's no enthusiasm. When there's a goal, it's like, hey, we scored. It's not, that's it. Like there needs to be more of that.
It needs more flavor. I always say it needs more flavor. And some teams can pull it off though. Like Germany is not known for flashy stuff. They're like very square, but they're so good with the technical stuff that they pull it off. But that's the one rare exception.
I agree. And I think if you look at the United States, like we're such a multicultural tapestry, right? Like I don't think a German model would work for us because like this is no insult to Germany. This is, I think they're a little bit more monochromatic, right?
Exactly.
In their society, right? That isn't U.S.
Oh man, U.S. has so many different colors and
that's not our history, right? We are the melting pot, right? Like we are such a vibrant group of different individuals, cultures, experiences. Like I think we need
Bring all those rhythms together,
we
man.
gotta
Let's
bring
make
it
this a
together,
party.
man. We gotta bring it together. Exactly. We gotta
Yeah.
find that.
It's definitely missing some of that, and I'm hoping it starts developing. I'm hoping the World Cup does a big number on that.
Yeah, it'll be really
I think
interesting to see.
the Clubs World Cup did some of that, Gabe, because did you see, I don't know if you got to see any of the footage of the Argentinian teams just storming the everywhere, and everyone's just dancing and singing, and it looks chaotic, but then it's super well organized, so much fun. They're just having a good time, man. That's what football should be like. And like all the Brazilian teams, obviously you don't take it to the extremes. Like when they go back home, sometimes they go a little too far-fetched. But what they brought on here, man, it was magical. I'm like, I want to be there so bad. I want to be there jumping around, singing their songs.
Oh yeah. It gets you pumped up. It gets you pumped. Have you seen there's this new league that's trying to make some inroads in US soccer. It's called Baller League or Baller TV. Have you heard of this? So it's these collection of former soccer players and some celebrities, and their mission is to make soccer a little bit more engaging for a US audience, because some of the feedback is from US fans, and again, this is very US centric, right? Is that compared to some of our sports, soccer feels slower paced, right? Like you can wait 90 minutes for that goal. Now, I think that makes it even more exciting, but I understand that not everyone shares that opinion. So they created this indoor 5v5 league. It's not futsal. And it has these wild rules, man, wild rules. They're right now playing down in Miami, and it's 2 15-minute halves. In the last 2 minutes of each half, the rules, there's like a roulette wheel that they spin, and the rules can change.
Oh,
just like that for the last 2 minutes. But one of the teams brought out a full Brazilian circus at the beginning of the match. And I'm going to tell you, you were jazzed up. You were ready for that match. I was like, yes, let's go. That's, and so I think that passion
is definitely missing here.
Yeah.
It's picking up little by little. I seen the crowds from some of the MLS teams, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This feels like, okay, this feel like European, South America, Africa type of vibe to it. Like, this is incredible. Even Asia is going crazy with the fan bases.
Oh yeah,
it's incredible what they're doing. So hopefully for the World Cup, we get a little more of that. The U.S. crowd gets into it. It really depends on having a good performance from the U.S. team also, because that's what's going to get people the most.
Yeah.
Like if your team starts performing, then that's going to
everybody
gets excited, right? But especially the U.S. is so used to winning that you guys are so spoiled, man. You guys have no idea how spoiled you guys are. In terms of sports, like your teams are always dominating. Like in the Olympics, the U.S. athletes are always fighting for the gold medal.
Yeah.
So when you have a sport where they're not, excitement goes away. But man, you got to learn from our countries. My country never fights for anything. I'm still pumped up to see them play.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, I will say, I think, to circle it back to, especially being the girls' coach for GLTS, women's soccer. U.S. crushes it, right? And you see that excitement. I mean, this is no hate on New England Revolution, but FC Legacy, they pulled a sold out crowd for their inaugural home opener.
At the Gillette? Where did they play?
Well, so yes. So they did play their inaugural opening at Gillette. I mean, it was unbelievable how many people were there, right? I think it was, I'm sure there'll be a fact checker, I think it was like 30 to 35,000 people showed up for that first game, right? But they're competitive, and it's great soccer. It's great soccer to watch, and you can get excited about it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's it, right? You want people to start rooting for the U.S. men's team. Then you boys, McKenny, you watch me all the time. I need you to step it up, boy. They got to start performing, man. Yeah. All right. We've been here for over an hour. I don't know if you noticed
Oh, I'm
it.
so sorry.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
I have time, man. I don't know. I'm saying it because I don't know how much time you have.
No. It's good.
My
It's
practice
good.
got canceled, so I don't have
Oh,
to
did it
go
get
anywhere.
canceled? Okay, I was gonna
So
say I knew you had a.
the weather sucks, man. Oh, this freaking weather.
Oh yeah.
But I wanna the World Cup. I wanna ask you. Okay, what are your expectations for the U.S. national team? You guys are playing home, right? The U.S. is playing home. So that's always in soccer, home advantage is it's a big one. Do you think I'm not gonna ask you about how the team is gonna perform or how you think the team is gonna perform? Feel free to tell me if you
Yeah.
want to. Do you think it's gonna have a good reception here, like from the
Oh, that's a great.
fans?
Okay, I understand.
Like,
Yeah.
are people gonna go watch the game? And will you wanna like? Do you want the U.S. team to fill up in a stadium and be like, "Yeah, we're here. We're the U.S."
Yeah.
Because it's the World Cup, man. It doesn't get bigger than this.
I mean, I mean, so from a, you know, from a US centric perspective, like I want this to generate excitement for soccer. I do. Um, and do do I want the US to bring that? Absolutely, I do. I mean, yeah, I absolutely want them to. Will they though? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to be, we'll see. I think case in point, um, William, my son, um, he wants to know how US is going to do,
Yeah.
but he's gonna be wearing his France jersey. Like I mean that's the he like that's so I think that I share that not to put him on blast, but to show that there's still
Yeah.
work to do
To be done. Yeah.
on the US men's side, because if I asked William the same question for the Women's World Cup, US all the way.
Of course.
He has watched all the US women's documentaries. He's in it to win it with them. I don't think he's fully bought in yet that US national soccer can compete on an international stage.
Yeah, they got to convince him.
So I think they have work to do, right? And I think I think a strong showing would help, right? I think they got to make it out of the group stage.
Oh my, they have to, man.
Well, you say that but
They have to.
that doesn't always happen.
I know.
So they got to make it out of the group stage, and I really think they need to win a knockout round. Like I think if they can get out of the group stage and then win at least one game post the group stage, I think that could be like, hey, they were in it for a while. I think that could be a really good showing for them.
I mean, this is the perfect scenario to do so, right? The number of teams went up almost by 50%. Like they added a bunch of new teams, so that allows for some of the weaker countries to also participate, right? Not badging on anybody. Even with this amount of numbers, Honduras did not make the team. Did not make the tournament.
I was rooting for you. I was rooting for you.
But it opens the door, right? So instead of facing two former world champs in the group stage, you get people who might be there for the first time. So the U.S., even though they don't have a good track record, they're always in the World Cup, and they pretty much always make it past the group stage. And but last time they won their knockout game was against Mexico. So I don't know if it was a great deal. I still remember the Orlando Donovan goals. It was insane. But it's a rival that is always known. Like they're always fighting against each other. Any of them could win, right? Having a big win on a knockout round, it'll be massive, man. It'll be that energy boost that we need.
And it'll be interesting because I know you and I have talked about this offline, and you've kind of shared. I don't want to call the country out in case you don't want it shared across everywhere, right? But you've said that you worry that the U.S. model is sometimes following another country's model historically, where we pull in talent, and then when it comes time to show up nationally, we don't have that talent. Which I know my MLS Nexters out there are going to say, that's why we have MLS Next. Which okay, I understand the approach. My critique,
We'll give it
we'll give it 5 or 10 years. My critique is that it circumvents the college, right? But I get that people watching would say that's what MLS Next is for. But a lot of our superstars right now are international stars. So how does it translate to a internationally competitive national team? I don't know. We'll find out in a few months, I guess. We'll find out in a few months.
I'm rooting for you, man. My brother doesn't like you at all. My brother hates Pochettino, like the DT. He doesn't like, because he coached Chelsea from the Premier League.
Yeah.
My brother's a big Chelsea fan, and Poch did not do good with the club, and so my brother
He holds on to that.
Yeah, so my brother, because my brother was born and raised here in the U.S., so he's more U.S. than he is Honduran, honestly. And he roots for the U.S. national team, always has. And then he's like, dude, you ruined my club. Now you're here to ruin my country too. My national team.
Maybe he'll have some renewed faith. Yeah, well, time will tell.
We're hoping, man. Man, it's been amazing. It's been great. You definitely have to be a regular.
Oh, thank you. I would love to. This is so much fun. I would love to. And, I want to give a shout out, first of all, to you for inviting me. Thank you so much. This is my first podcast experience. It's been wonderful. So thank you. And props to your overall setup too. I know that in everyone's field of view, it's very soccer centric, but he has an epic collection of pop characters, anime, all kinds of awesome stuff in this room.
We have
so
a
the
Joker.
setup,
we have
that's where you got the Joker. You've got the Predator. We've got some classic Alien and Predator 80s sci-fi stuff going on here. Thank you so much.
Nah, it was amazing. For everybody, if you made it this far, please remember to hit the subscribe button. Yeah. Anything you like to add or contradict or maybe agree with us.
Give us something to make us question our...
That's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Scotty.
Thank you so much.